Good early morning to you, YouTube. What's going on here? Dirk or GC Blues 45. How you guys doing? We had 15 games on the dock tonight. Let's get right into it. Remember, if you haven't come across this video and you happen to like it, please give me that thumbs up duel. It's very important. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe icon. You'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And I want to welcome my new subscriber, number 103. Thank you very much. So let's get right into it. Starting off with Boston and Montreal. Boston entering the matchup was 64, 12, and 5, and 133 points. Montreal was 31, 44, 6, and 68 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Boston Bruins beat the Montreal Canadiens by a score of 5-4. Shots on goal were the Bruins 21, the Canadiens 34. The Bruins had 30 saves with Montreal 16. Boston was 0 for 6 on the power play with Montreal 0 for 3 on the power play. Well, Boston picks up their 65th win, the most wins by a team. Also, they set the points record with 135, and they are the first seed. They are locked at the first seed. Next was Carolina at Florida. Currently, going into the matchup, Carolina was 51, 21, and 9, and 111 points. Florida was 42, 11, and 8, and 92 points. At the end of 60 minutes, the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Florida Panthers by a score of 6-4. Shots on goal were 36 for the Canes, 34 for the Panthers. Both teams had 30 saves. Carolina was 0 for 4 on the power play with Florida 0 for 2 on the power play. Well, Carolina wins the division. They win the Metropolitan Division and a lock, pretty much, of the first seed in the East. So congratulations. No, sorry, the second seed in the East. So they got the second seed in the East. Congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes. Florida, you still got the wild card, but you never know what can happen. Next was Detroit at Tampa. Going into the matchup, Detroit was 35, 36, and 10, and 80 points. Tampa was 45, 30, and 6, and 96 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Detroit Red Wings by a score of 5-0. Shots on goal were both teams had 32 shots. The Tampa Bay Lightning had 32 saves. The Red Wings had 27. Tampa Bay was 1 for 2 on the power play with Detroit 0 for 2 on the power play. 98th point for Detroit. For the Lightning, they did great. Now they got to find out who they're going to take on in round 1. Next was New Jersey at Washington. Entering the matchup, New Jersey was 51, 22, and 8, and 110 points. Washington was 35, 37, and 9, and 79 points. This game had to go into an extra period, and the final score was New Jersey 5, Washington 4. Shots on goal were 34 for the Devils, 31 for the Caps. The Devils had 27 saves with Washington 29. New Jersey was 1 for 2 on the power play with Washington 0 for 1 on the power play. 112 points for the Devils. They will find out who they take on later. Also, Ottawa at Buffalo. Going into the matchup, Ottawa was 39, 35, and 7, and 85 points. Buffalo was 40, 33, and 7, and 87 points. This game also had to go to extra period, and the final score of that was Buffalo 4, Ottawa 3. Shots on goal were the Sabres 36, the Sens 33. The Sabres had 30 saves with Ottawa 32, and Buffalo was 1 for 4 on the power play with Ottawa 1 for 3 on the power play. Despite both teams being out, Buffalo finishes with 89 points. Congratulations to them. Oh, and by the way, Ottawa picks up a point, so did Washington. They picked up a point too. So congratulations to both of them. Next was Pittsburgh at Columbus. Entering the matchup, Pittsburgh was 40, 31, and 10 and 90 points. Columbus was 24, 47, and 9 and 57 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, this had to go into a extra period with the final score of Columbus 3, Pittsburgh 2. Shots on goal were the Blue Jackets 34, Pens 36. The Blue Jackets had 34 saves with Pittsburgh 31. Columbus was 1-4 on the power play with Pittsburgh 2 for 2. Well, despite both teams being out, Pittsburgh picks up a point, gives them 91. Columbus gets their 2 points, plus them at 59 for the year. Next was Toronto and New York. Entering the matchup, Toronto was 49, 21, 11, and 109 points. The New York Rangers was 47, 21, and 13, and 107 points. At the end of 60 minutes, the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the New York Rangers by a score of 3-2. Shots on goal were the Maple Leafs 21, the Rangers 24. The Maple Leafs had 22 saves with the Rangers 18. The Toronto was 0 for 1 on the power play with the New York Rangers 1 for 2 on the power play. 111 points by Toronto, not bad, but we'll find out who to take on in the playoffs coming up, and I will have tomorrow, after tomorrow's games, I will have an updated playoff bracket for you to tell you where everyone stands. Gary 0. Good. Next was Winnipeg at Colorado. Entered the matchup, Winnipeg was 46, 32, and 3, 95 points. Colorado was 49, 24, and 7, 105 points. At the end of 60 minutes, the Colorado Avalanche beat the Winnipeg Jets by a score of 4-2. Shots on goal was the Avs 25, the Jets 20. Colorado had 18 saves with the Jets 21. Colorado was 1 for 3 on the power play with Winnipeg 0 for 3 on the power play. Now this is the 50th win for Colorado. Now they hold their faith in their hands later today, when they're in Nashville. We'll get to that tomorrow or later today. Next was Minnesota at Nashville. Entering the matchup, Minnesota was 46, 25, and 10 and 102 points. Nashville was 41, 31, and 8 and 90 points. This game had to go into an extra period, folks. And Nashville beats the Minnesota Wild by a score of 4-3. Shots on goal were the Preds 31, the Wild 24. Nashville had 21 saves with Minnesota Wild 27. And Nashville was 0 for 2 on the power play with Minnesota 0 for 1 on the power play. Well, Minnesota, they lost, but they got 103 points for the year, which is not bad. Nashville, they picked up to 2 for 92 points. They finished off 92. Next, my Blues at Dallas. Entering the matchup, the Blues were 37, 37, 7, and 81 points. Dallas, 46, 21, and 14, and 106 points. This game, at the end of 60 minutes, the Blues lose by a score of 1-0. Shots on goal, the Stars 34, the Blues 25. Dallas had 25 saves, with the Blues 33, and both teams were 0 for 2 on the power play. Now, as I was saying, currently right now, Dallas has the number 1 seed in the division. But Colorado owns their own fate, and we'll get to that later today when I do the pregame report. Next, Philadelphia at Chicago. Entering this matchup, Philadelphia was 30, 38, and 13 and 73 points. Chicago 26, 49, and 6 and 58 points. This game had to go into an extra period, and the final score of that was Philadelphia 5, Chicago 4. Shots on goal were 36 for the Flyers, 38 for the Blackhawks. The Flyers had 34 saves, with Chicago 31 saves, the Blackhawks 31 saves, and both teams were 0 for 1 on the power play. Well, despite both being out of the playoffs, Philadelphia picks up 2 points while Chicago picks up 1. Ending with 59. Philadelphia ended with 75. Next, San Jose at Edmonton. Entering the matchup, San Jose was 22, 43, and 16 and 60 points. Edmonton 49, 23, and 9 and 107 points. At the end of 60 minutes, the San Jose Sharks lose to the Edmonton Oilers by a score of 5-2. Shots on goal, Oilers 36, Sharks 29. Oilers had 27 saves with Sharks 31. Edmonton was 1 for 2 on the power play with San Jose 1 for 4 on the power play. 109 points for the Oilers as they move on to the playoffs. And San Jose finishes this with 60. Next, the Battle of Orange County, LA at Anaheim. Entering the matchup, LA was 46, 25, and 10 and 102 points. Anaheim 23, 46, and 12 and 58 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Los Angeles Kings beat the Anaheim Ducks by a score of 5-3. Shots on goal were 36 for the Kings, Ducks 24. The Kings had 21 saves with the Ducks 31. LA was 2 for 8 on the power play with Anaheim 0 for 2 on the power play. 104 points for the Kings as they move on to the next round. And they will host someone, I believe. But we got 2 more games left. Vancouver, Arizona, after that. Entering the matchup, Vancouver was 37, 37, and 7 and 81 points. Arizona was 28, 40, and 13 and 69 points. This game had to go into extra period. And the final score of that was 5-4 Vancouver. Shots on goal were the Canucks 24, 20, and the Coyotes had 28. Vancouver, the Canucks had 24 saves with Arizona 19. Vancouver was 2 for 4 on the power play with Arizona 0 for 3 on the power play. Well, Vancouver picks up their 83rd point with Arizona picking up their 70th point. I was hoping they win, but hey, can't win them all. And finally, the nightcap. The Golden Knights taking on Seattle. Entering the matchup, Vegas was 50, 22, and 9 and 109 points. Seattle was 46, 27, and 8 and 100 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Seattle Kraken by a score of 3-1. Shots on goal, the Knights 19, the Kraken 31. The Knights had 30 saves with the Kraken's 13. Vegas was over 2 on the power play with Seattle 0 for 4 on the power play. Vegas wins the Pacific Division, by the way, and they have 111 points. Well, folks, that is it. I'll see you later today for the pregame report. As I'm going out and getting ready, I'm going to the ball game tonight. But I will be on later tonight for the postgame report as we get all ready for the playoffs. And I'll be on Saturday for the playoffs. Who's in, who's out, or, well, we know who's in, but who got what? Where are they seated? Who takes on who? And we'll tell you the games after that. So as always, folks, please stay safe. Take care. Remember, those watching. I love you guys. Until then, peace.